little voice in your head. No, it's me, little.
Hello, welcome to A World According to Patrick. I am Patrick, also known as Ziddle the Dalekborn. Today's episode is the non-active. I'm sorry, I'll try to get to upgrade my computer later on. But today's episode is Pikmin Origins, subject Bulborb's life. Now, to start off with, the Bulborb is actually a creature and enemy to the Pikmin. Now, to actually show what the heck they do, I don't know. I like Pikmin, it's actually a fun game. You play as Olimar with all the Pikmin. But the main characters you must know is the main enemies. So today's enemies is about the Bulborb. And when I mean about the Bulborbs, I mean their life cycle. I'm not counting Pikmin 3 because I don't got Pikmin 3. So let's start with the basics of how a Bulborb is born. A Bulborb starts as what it always starts, from the mother. Here's an Empress Borblax. Ain't she beautiful? She's right now sleeping because since she's overweighted and pregnant, she can't not do anything much but just sit around lazy off and sleeping. If she is ever threatened, she'll just run over everyone. That would include the babies that are born recently. If you actually count how many times the babies would actually come out, it's always like once every about 3 seconds. And that would mean about like 1 out of 3, meaning 60. You can lay 1,000, maybe 10, 100,000 a day. That's a lot of babies. And I mean it. Aw, I'm gonna name that one Henry. Bulborb larvae are always actually the same, always plain white, which means they could actually be born as anything. They might be red, they might be blue, hey, they might like your face. I don't know what you look like. But anyway, as they would do, they would actually eat endlessly. And if you're wondering if that's a tail or a butt rash, nope, those are their feet. They're very undeveloped, so they are basically just waddling around on their bottoms. That explains the evolution there. They only eat Pikmin a day and they eat constantly. When they die, they'll actually just turn out a bunch of nectar. The body's not solid enough like a normal Bulborb. But let's see how each one actually grows up into a Bulborb. We'll start with how one actually becomes another and another becomes it. We'll start with, I'm not gonna go with names. Let's try Jake. Yeah, Jake. Luke Skywalker Jake. There we go. Jake. The little Bulborb returns. Whatever. As a baby grows older, it'll actually grow the color that it wants to be, mostly depending on the nature of the environment that it's actually in. For what we're going to actually start with, we're going to start with the red Bulborb, the most common Bulborb that there is in the entire Pikmin universe. They are the main villains, or main enemies against the Pikmin, and always carnivorously eats a bundle at a time it strikes. If it actually misses, it'll trip, fall, and hurt itself. Or at least annoyed, not hurting it at all. Their legs are their weakness, or they go on their back. Basically, they mostly just sleep for hours and hours, instead of actually doing something in the middle of the day, because they're nocturnal. I mean, if you want to actually be the most top predator, you just go forth and eat everyone. But then you would actually be tired all day. So, sleep all day, eat all night. That would explain why the Pikmin always leave. Also, they always stay in their territory, which is very... yeah. The orange Bulborb, or the cat-eyed Bulborb, if you actually could tell, mostly actually sleeps with its eyes open, making it actually see anything that might actually come in its way when it's sleeping. So you can't actually be able to stop it, or even sneak up to it when it actually can see you in the very beginning. I don't like them very much, they always can't spot you, and catch you off position. So the best thing you could do is actually drop some Pikmin on its back instead of actually swarming it, otherwise you're going to lose a ton of Pikmin. And I mean a lot. Now, they will actually try to eat... I gotta say this one. The hairy Bulborb is actually quite an interesting Bulborb. It actually developed its own hair, making it actually survive in warmer temperatures. Of course, obviously, this doesn't last long since it's very fragile on its back, so it will actually come off of it when it's attacked, making it, how shall I say, naked? It's always naked to begin with. Well, who cares about hair? I do. Anywho. As the hairy Bulborb is just like the red Bulborb, it will actually eat Pikmin in the swarm. However, except for when it comes to the orange Bulborb, it'll actually be caught like the red. So, it doesn't matter if it loses its hair or not, at least you get something out of it. Right? Maybe a new haircut. There you go. We did a favor for you, Bulborb. Stay bald. No one cares about you having hair. I don't really mean it. They're kind of nice if you actually get over the fact that they eat your Pikmin. Yeah. Those aren't Bulborbs. Actually, they are. They are Bulborb that actually evolved into water species. They are called the water dumples. Water dumples, why are they called that? Maybe it's because they're shaped like dumples. Like in water. Yeah. They have huge mouths which actually could swallow 3 Pikmin at once. And they have good eyesight, even though their eyes are covered in a bunch of scales. What they actually do is swaddle or swiddle or scrub like a slug in the water depths, or even out of water, and actually come forth and gap their big mouths. It's kind of a good freak show, but at least it's good commercial breaks or something like that. But after killing them, they actually come in good prices for your Pikmin or gold. Well, even if your machine doesn't care for them. Anywho, how they evolve into that, or they could be what they were before. That's what my theory is. That's where they come from. Water dumples, then Bulborbs. That's how the cycle goes. Oh my god, that Bulborb is on fire! Actually, it's supposed to be on fire. That is the fiery Borblax. Yep, fiery Borblax. Why is it on fire? Because its body temperature has increased so much that it actually had to spew out all the heat out of its body, causing it to have a flaming cloak all over its entire backside. This causes the Pikmin having hard times trying to kill it. So the best ones to actually get it is red Pikmin. But there is one that's actually near the snowy mountains where it actually cannot be attacked by red because it's surrounded by water. But this gives you advantage. Get some blue Pikmin and give it its own weakness. Water. Get that fiery Bulborb actually into the water, and it cools down like it's a hose on a fire truck. Or there was a expression like that, but I can't remember what it was. Anywho, as you must notice, its face is actually not actually surviving the texture all over its face. This causes it to be blindness sometimes. Yeah. By the way, do you remember the juvenile Bulborbs I said? You know, the ones that are also called dwarf Bulborbs. They come in all varieties of colors as well as the others. Turns out, they are not even Bulborb. They're mimickers. I mean, here is an example right here. The red Bulborb. Sure, it's actually based on the same jurisdiction as the others, but it turns out they are not. They're in disguise. They are actually not even Bulborb whatsoever. They're only in disguise and just pretending to actually be the Bulborb so that way they're protected from the predators, instead of actually getting eaten by themselves. Curse you, why couldn't you teach the Pikmin to become them? Wait, they did. Spoilers. At the end. Anywho, what they actually are is kind of interesting to actually know. But if you might know from the other Bulborbs, that's right here of the dwarves, such as the orange Bulborb, it's also actually a non-Bulborb right there as well. Neither is the snow or any of the others. Who are they then? They're this guy. Who is this guy? It's a bread bug. Or the vanilla bread bug, since there's other colored bread bugs. Apparently, this bread bug actually found a way to mimic its enemies and predators. As long as they're not actually noticed that they are, how should I say, not Bulborbs, they're all good. They're well protected, and they'll just keep being beaten up. Why they're different from the vanilla is because the vanilla has more fat than they have. So, hey, why is that bread bug running away? I'm still talking about it. I mean, does it see something? Is there an enemy nearby? Wait, what's on that ground? Holy smokes! Did you see that? That, my friend, is the Emperor Borblax. 1,000-year-old Bulborb has lived in the ground for so many years. As you actually see, it is huge, and look at that size. Hard, powerful muscles, body armor covered in moss, green, whatever plant it could be covered in. Let's say mold. And terrifying jaws that with a tongue that would swallow hundreds of Pikmin. Well, maybe a couple of 5 or 8. But huge as it is, so heavy it actually could crunch the ground and thumping all around that place. Now it's actually not quite bad. It actually hides in the ground with its eyes sticking out. And just to see any enemy nearby, it rises up and starts gobbling up it can get. This huge tiny is actually the worst of the worst. I mean, it's a boss battle of a boss battle. If you actually think of it, this is your father. I am your father. And if you must actually know, this is what actually gets a Empress Borblax pregnant. What does an Empress Borblax look like before he gets pregnant? I'm guessing it's a Bulborb, and you get the idea how this goes. Anywho, Emperor Borblax, monster, that king of all Bulborbs. What will it do now? It's gonna go back to sleep. Yep, because it's not gonna actually eat this next enemy that I'm gonna show you. The last of the Bulborb species. Okay, I'll be honest to you, it's not a Bulborb species. Technically, it's a Pikmin species. I know, it looks like it, but it isn't. Behold, the Bulbmim. It's a Pikmin parasite that actually affected Bulborb and caused them to actually turn into Pikmin themselves. They actually live in the Bulborb stomachs like they were onions, and of course the Bulborb would actually not know if it's a Pikmin or anything. It'll just eat whatever it wants. Like a crocodile would mistake its baby as food. Well, as you must know, they actually waddle around in the deep, dark cave, so they do not actually come out on the surface. So, if you ever find any tough shit, shoot. If you find anything, tough luck. You can't, if you want to actually take those Bulbmin, you have to turn them into other Pikmin. Which, of course, obviously, you'll have to. What's actually amazing about these Bulbmims are actually that they are invulnerable to any type of element. Fire? That doesn't actually faze them. Electricity? Nope, it doesn't even tingle. Water? Ah, nice and breathable gills. Do they have gills? I'm not sure. Maybe water dumble gills, that would make sense. And poison? Ha! It's like breath of fresh air. Nothing fazes these little critters. They would actually become grown full adults someday. For now, they're just juveniles, watching what they should do when they grow up and not have to worry about anything. If you actually kill a fully grown one, the babies will actually start panicking because now they have no one to have. Oh no! But as long as they actually have a follower, whether it's their own kind or you, they will always be there with their green little leaves glowing and all that such. Yep. Bulbmim. Well, this is it about my Bulborb's life video. Thank you for watching. If there's any actually comments, questions, concerns, or ideas I can actually have, just write down something somewhere, maybe even on my Facebook if I actually get it up right, if I ever look. Or even actually send a description down below on my YouTube video. Just type anything you want. Maybe you tell me, make a better video, or hey, that is actually a good video, make another one. Anything at all. Just let me know. Until then, Ziddle the Dalekborn off. Thank you for watching World According to Patrick.